What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Daily Walk with Lance, and this is where I take my morning devotional. I take some notes down and I share it with you guys. Like I said before every video, don't look at me as a leader, spiritual leader, pastor. I'm nothing like that. I'm just average Joe trying to show the other average Joes that you can incorporate a devotional and reading the Bible every day, even though we have all the responsibilities that we have. And that it's actually a lot easier than you would think. And it's literally like, I don't know, I probably spend 5-10 minutes, and that's with writing it down, like on top of like just reading it and the notes and everything that go along with it. And we have plenty of technology. There's plenty of Bible apps out there where you can it can send you like a verse every so many hours or once a day, whatever. Every app's a little different, get the one that fits you best. That's just like my app. I read it in King James, but when I go to copy it down and explain it, it's a lot easier with the New American Standard Bible because it's more modern language. So like even the type of English that you speak, there's plenty of ways to get in the word. And the more you see certain stories, the more you can just remember them off the top of your head, or you can start diving deep into things that are going around. Like Jonah is a good one. Well, I don't want to say that because the one with Jonah might be the people he was going to. There was a god that they worshipped that was it was a big fish, like, speaking, and then all of a sudden Jonah shows up coming out the mouth of a big fish, and so that got their attention, like, why are these two things similar? And then when Jonah said, you guys are close, but this is the actual truth, you're worshiping worldly things when you should be worshiping the one real true creator. And so God literally used Jonah's own hesitation and doubt to make his message that much more pleasing is not the right word, but it grabbed the attention of the people he was trying to talk to, and they didn't just cast him out like he thought they would. Okay. But anyway, let's see. If you can't tell, still a little bit under the weather still. Not too bad. But I'm definitely missing working out. Like, I didn't, when I got lazy, I didn't think I would ever, like, want to work out again. But now that I've restarted and I've had to take a break because of the flu, it's been like, okay, I want to get back in the gym. Like, I want to get back at it. And it's kind of frustrating. But at the same time, I'm not going to be responsible for, like, the Silver Sneakers class getting sick or something like that. I don't want to, I would much rather discipline myself and still try to do things at home to make up for it. I thought there was one more thing I wanted to say before we got into it, but let's just get into it today. We're going to talk about healing and Luke today, and Luke in this passage uses what we call like a sandwich. It's like sandwich parable or something like this. It's sandwich something, and it's where you have one. It's hard to explain. It's where you have one storyline, but then you put a storyline right in the middle of it, and then you go on with the main storyline, and you sandwich something in there, and that's kind of what he does here, because it's two types of healing, and they go together. Like, you'll see when we get into it. But remember, Luke was also an equivalent to what we would call a PhD. He was a physician at the time, and obviously we didn't have college or nothing back then. But he was highly respected, and that's one of the reasons I think Jesus picked him. I think, Luke's character and inside of him is what got Luke himself picked. But I think Jesus wanted a physician on the team so that the physician could say that, no, we know that person was sick. We know what they had, and they shouldn't have gotten better. And Jesus came and they were better. And it has a lot more weight to it when it's a doctor saying it. And so I also think when you look at the gospel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, each writer kind of has their own things that they pay specific details to. And Luke would be the one paying attention to the healing. Because, like I said, he would be the one to say they shouldn't have been able to have been healed except for God did it. So let's get right into it. This is the Bible devotional for December 30th. We're in the New American Standard Bible as always. Luke chapter 8, verses 43 to 56. And obviously Luke did write this one. And it says, oh, and the backstory, there's like a verse before this. The backstory is a man from the synagogue, Jairus, his daughter was sick and dying, and he came to Jesus for healing. And it says, and this is on his way to Jairus's house. And it says, and a woman who had suffered chronic flow of blood for 12 years and could not be healed by anyone came up behind him and touched the fringe of his cloak, and immediately the bleeding stopped. And Jesus said, Who is the one that touched me? And while they were denying it, Peter said, Master, the people are crowding and pressing in on you. But Jesus said, Someone did touch me, for I was aware that power had left me. Now, when the woman saw she had not escaped notice, she came trembling and fell down before him and admitted in the presence of all the people the reason why she had touched him and how she had been immediately healed. And he said to her, Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. While he was still speaking, someone came from the house of the synagogue, the house of the synagogue official, saying, Your daughter has died. Do not trouble the teacher anymore. But when Jesus heard this, he responded to him, Do not be afraid any longer. Only believe, and she will be made well. When he came to the house, he did not allow anyone to enter with him except Peter, John, and James, and the girl's father and mother. Now they were all weeping and mourning for her, but he said, Stop weeping, for she has not died, but is asleep. And they began laughing at him, knowing she had died. He, however, took her by the hand and said forcefully, and spoke forcefully, saying, Child, arise. And her spirit returned, and she got up immediately, and he ordered that something be given to her to eat. And her parents were amazed, but he instructed them to tell no one what had happened. And again, that is Luke chapter 8, verses 43 through 56. And like I said, he was on his way to do a healing, and inadvertently did a healing on the way there. And it wasn't just like any healing. The daughter that was sick, she was 12 years old, and the woman who had been bleeding for 12 years. And so you see this a lot with the Bible, the 12 and the 12, and like matches them to each other, and it creates that sandwich that I talked about. And this is also another example of it's never too late for Jesus to fix something. Like, never. Because by all accounts, even by Luke's account, the daughter was gone. She was gone. And just like when God breathed life into Adam, Jesus breathed life back into her, and her spirit returned. And how weird would that be if you were that girl? knowing that you had like passed out, don't remember anything, and then you just wake up and you're completely fine. Like it doesn't matter now. There's times where I mean, it's not like he raises the dead every single time someone dies, but it was a foreshadowing to him being raised up. And if you look, most of his miracles are like that. It's 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 all foreshadowing. Just seems like a light word for it, but it's all foreshadowing to what he's going to do when he declares himself Messiah. And of course, prophets, elders, they had already claimed he was Messiah. But as far as like his public saying, I am, he was leading up to that. And on his way to heal, oh yeah, and the 12 years of bleeding that the woman was in would be like a hemorrhage. That's what Luke would compare it to, would be a hemorrhage. And the power of God is greater than any human crisis or worry. Because like they were worried, oh, he's not going to get there in time. Oh, she's going to pass before he gets there. Oh, this crowd is slowing him down. But at the end of the day, God knew, hey, we're gonna have a healing on the way, and then she will pass. And then when Jesus gets there and she comes back, it'll be an even greater thing. But there's one part there that a lot of people struggle with, and I did too for a while until I fully took in the context of everything and prayed about it and thought about it. But Jesus telling the parents, "Don't say what happened here," and it's like, what why? Like, don't you want me to go shout from the rooftops like you did for me? And while yes, he does, but in this specific instance, he was wanting he wanted things to happen in a certain order, and so he knew if they credited him for raising her from the dead, then that would bring all kinds of political, governmental, religious heat on the family, and he didn't want that for them. And so while obviously the word still eventually got out about what happened, in the immediate he wanted that story to hold on for a little bit until it was a more proper time. And so it wasn't that he was trying to be secretive about his miracles, but he also didn't want people to believe only on miracles either. He wanted people to come to their faith legitimately and then see the miracles on top of it for further proof. And so that's kind of what he's doing here in my eyes. And let's see. And it proves also in this, the woman who was bleeding that he healed on the way to the girl, she was considered unclean. So she was an outcast of society. She was considered with the lowlives because she was unclean. And by her healing with Jesus, she was able to re-enter society, to be considered clean again. And I think that's why Jesus at the time kind of let that be the miracle that spread as far as when people would talk about things he did. That was a very public thing. It wasn't like he went to her house and just a couple of disciples went in, like with the daughter. This was very public, and you would think, okay, so the government and politicians and the Pharisees, they would be more worried about that than worrying about him still going to Jairus' house, especially after the servants came and said that she had passed. They just assumed. And so he said, so he was able to conceal the bigger miracle for a little bit longer. And it wasn't that he didn't want people to know he did it. It was that he wanted them to know at the right point in time. And he knew once the stories were told, he would have already proclaimed the Messiah and died on the cross and resurrected for that miracle to start giving more weight. And then let's see. Yeah, he wanted the Messiah label to come out later. Um, and then faith through teaching over faith through miracles or spectacles. Um, and this was purely to prevent conflict for the family from the both government and Pharisees. And like I said, the daughter passing and then coming back was a foreshadow to what Jesus was going to do himself. All right, y'all. I don't think I have anything else I want to add to that today. Uh, yeah, I think that's it. All right, y'all. Tomorrow is New Year's, so be safe out there. Remember, everything in moderation. Don't go overboard. Just be safe. No, don't. If you're gonna go and hang out with friends, then maybe like it be an all night thing or something. Be responsible. Don't be the reason someone starts the new year as a as a grief or a trauma, and just do what you're supposed to do because there's enough going on in the world. We don't need to add that on top of it. All right, y'all. This is the first time on one of my videos. If you would, please drop me a follow, hit the like button, share the video, turn notifications on. I don't say that just to be a grifter. I say that because that's how the algorithm decides what videos to push. Obviously, celebrities, companies, they get a push naturally, but for people like me, who it's just we're turning our phone on and making a video. The way it knows that people want to see the video is the people that do view it, interact with it. Excuse me. So don't do that just for me either. Do that for every content creator that you enjoy their content. And also don't depend on content creators for your devotional. You should be studying yourself, and then you can double check to what we say, or then we can start talking about when the like right here we can it doesn't there people can read the same sentence and get two things from it. And so as Christians, we should be having that discussion with each other. But in order to have a um, not only a fair discussion but a good faith discussion, is we should know the scripture ourselves first, and then we have the debate with other Christians to see where exactly we should all end up landing on this, and what things might just be human, like curiosity or worry. But anyway, like I said, don't depend on me. Don't depend on anybody else. Study the show thyself approved. Um, I forgot something. Oh, on YouTube, I'm gonna put my email in the description. So if you have any questions or anything, the email will be there. And my DMs, they're pretty much open everywhere. Like pretty much as long as you have a real account, I'll at least look at it. Um, and when it comes to good faith discussion, it's actually a lot easier to tell when people aren't being in good faith. And so if you tried to reach out to a Christian creator, and if you've presented it as it's not a good faith and you're not really curious and you're just bashing them, that's why they're ignoring you, because we're not going to waste our time. Like, I don't, well, waste time isn't the right word, but it's like for people who have a true curiosity, uh, I would prioritize them. And now we want everybody to come back, but we also know that there's people who have had their heart who has had their heart hardened, or it might not. It might be a principality instead of a person. So, all right, y'all. Before I keep ranting, I'm gonna get off of here. Remember, your body's the temple, so get healthy. All right, y'all. Peace.